At this time, we'll go ahead and welcome head coach Ryan Day of the 4th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes and head coach Kirby Smart of the number 1-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. We also have Gary Stokin, CEO and president of Peach Bowl, Inc. So, Gary, why don't you kick us off? I'm sure you have some opening remarks for us.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Representing the Board of Trustees and Bob Shore, our chairman, I want to take this time to congratulate, but also welcome Coach Smart and Coach Day on making it into the college football playoff semifinals at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Kirby and Ryan, we look forward to hosting you, your family, the team, the administration, your coaches, as well as the Buckeye and the Bulldog families. We will play December 31st at 8 o'clock in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Will be nationally televised on ESPN. The roof will be closed unless we open it around midnight and drop the peach, which is a tradition in Atlanta. But we do want to welcome, we're really ecstatic to have number 1 against number 4. This is the 3rd time we've hosted the CFP semifinal. And each year we've been rewarded with the number 1 team in the country in 2016, as well as 2019 and now in 2022. And to have Georgia, the number 2 scoring defense in the country, and Ohio State, the number 2 scoring offense in the country, it'll be a lot of fireworks on New Year's Eve in Atlanta. So thanks so much, coaches. We look forward to hosting you. And we take great pride in our bowl game to make sure that our bowl week is a reward for the players. We use the theme, live, laugh, and learn. And it's very important to us to take care of the players. And we'll have a great time for both teams as they descend upon Atlanta, either Christmas or the day afterwards. So on behalf of our board, staff, volunteers, our partners, stakeholders, we look forward to hosting you in Atlanta, the capital of college football, for this year's CFP National Semifinal Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Thank you, Gary. All right. At this time, we'll go ahead and take an opening comment from Coach Day representing Ohio State. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Gary, the board, everybody at the Peach Bowl, honor for us to come down. Be my first time being at the Peach Bowl, and we're really excited about heading to Atlanta for a week, and tremendous amount of respect for Kirby and his staff and team and what they've done here, and really certainly winning last year and then going undefeated this season, playing at a high level. Congrats on winning the SEC championship. And I can just tell you that our team is very excited to be in this position, to be in the CFP. It's been an emotional week here, but in our facility today, to see our name pop up there, a lot of juice, a lot of energy, and we're looking for a great month of preparation and a great week down in Atlanta.
All right, thank you, Coach. Coach Smart, an opening statement from you as well, please.
It's an honor to see a lot of familiar faces. Spent a lot of time with Gary, having played as a player in the Peach Bowl twice, and coached in it multiple times throughout my career. They do as good a job as anybody of entertaining the players and putting on a first-class event. So thanks to the Peach Bowl, we look forward to being there. It's always an awesome event, and it's grown from a long time ago, being small, to being one of the best there is in the business. So a lot of connection to the people and the organization and the Peach Bowl. A lot of respect for Ryan and Ohio State University. What a tremendous job he has consistently done year in and year out with that program, and just a lot of respect for the way they play the game. And we've watched them, studied them in years past, off seasons, spoken to their staff members, and just always knew that an opportunity to play them would probably come along, but not knowing when it would happen. And it came to fruition this year. So got a lot of respect for a lot of their players we recruited and tried to sign. And I've enjoyed watching them mature and play for him and become really good football players. But it should be an electric matchup, electric atmosphere. What a great venue to play it in. And it's really what college football is all about. I mean, these kids having an opportunity to play in a game like this.
All right. Thanks very much for that, Coach. Okay, we'll go ahead and jump right into questions and answers for the coaches. We'll take our first question from Nathan Baird. Nathan, go ahead and unmute your line and go ahead with your question.
Thanks. This is for Kirby Smart. Just curious, you just said studying Ohio State in the off season. Why is that? Is it just part of studying a lot of teams in the off season? And what were the impressions that you came away with that you're gonna the main ones that you're gonna try to convey to your team this week?
Well, I haven't studied them this season. I mean, I've studied them in off seasons. We try to go out and watch the best teams in the country and what they do and try to get better at it, especially when you watch your conference all year. You know, you get to watch all your opponents. You see what they do. You want to go kind of out of your league when you go in the off season to study. We've always looked at Clemson, Ohio State, looked across the country to find out, you know, how are people doing it really well and what are they doing differently. So in the past, when I've seen that, they've had elite players and they've had really good, tough, physical guys look across the NFL, and it's littered with Ohio State players. So that's been in the past. I have not been able to really look at Ohio State so far this year.
All right, we'll take our next question from Bill Rabinowitz. Go ahead, Bill.
Yes, Bill Rabinowitz from the Columbus Dispatch. This is also for Kirby. Ohio State hasn't played Georgia in almost 30 years, but you did when you were at Alabama in the 2014 with Cordell Jones and that team. What are your memories of that experience in that game?
Long day. It was a long day. It was physical. I think it was Ezekiel Elliott, right? I mean, yep. he shredded what was a pretty talented Alabama defense, and just remember a lot of explosive plays back and forth. You know, I can't remember all the particulars, but I know they were very talented, very physical, and played with a very obvious purpose.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next question from Stephen Means. Go ahead, Stephen.
For Kirby, again, Kirby, you brought this up a couple of times, whether here on ESPN, talking about how Ohio State has had players on its roster in the past that you guys have recruited. When you get on these stages and you get an opportunity to play against some of those players in playoff moments, how much of an impact have you seen that have, whether it's here at Georgia or when you were at Alabama and other spots, when you're playing against an Ohio State team who does have like-minded talent?
It's just a great game. It's a great opportunity. Most of these kids, they all know each other. They got recruited by the same schools. They went to the same all-star games. They're very familiar with each other. You know, we recruit across the country. Ohio State recruits across the country. So we both have players from all different areas. They've got players from the state of Georgia. You know, we've got players from all over. So it makes for a great talent matchup. I know NFL teams really enjoy watching these kids go against each other, and just a lot of respect for the program and the way they play the game.
All right, thanks. Next, we'll go to Seth Emerson. Go ahead, Seth.
This is for both coaches. I know the portal's opening, quote unquote, tomorrow. How are you all handling the balance of that not being a distraction over the next few weeks versus, you know, you don't want to fall behind in that process?
All right, let's start with Coach Day, please.
Well, you know, certainly this is a unprecedented time in college football with you know, the portal and all that going on, and there's a lot of dynamics at play with that. But you know, I think our culture is such that there's a lot of guys on our team that want to be Buckeyes moving forward. So you know, we have those conversations and try to do the best we can to make sure that, you know, we're recruiting great high school players and developing them and keeping them in the program. That being said, you know, there's going to be situations that occur where guys feel like maybe they have an opportunity to go play more at another school, and we understand that. It's something that certainly wasn't the case very long ago, but it's become a reality. And so I think communication is the most important thing. But you know, we still focus most of our time on recruiting high school players and develop them while they're here.
Coach Smart.
Yeah, I echo a lot of the same sentiments as Ryan. I mean, we try to build it where they want to be part of our program, and if they don't, then I certainly acknowledge that as an opportunity. And I think, Seth, you're asking also about, I guess, maybe the value that's in the portal. I mean, you know, we went a year where we didn't take one, so you're always going to look, and you know, people try to reach out once they go in the portal. It's there. They have people on staff at Ohio State, and we've got people on our staff that are going to be constantly looking through there and watching tape, evaluating it. But the focus is on our team. And it wouldn't be fair to all the guys playing if you weren't focused on your team. So you can't put a ton of focus and attention to looking for kids in the portal and things like that. I mean, for us, it's really about who do we know, who do we trust, who do we think fits our culture, and finding the right people. But our focus will be on ourselves.
All right, we'll take our next question from Nate Stidham. Go ahead, Nate.
This question's for Ryan Day. Ryan, obviously a big whirlwind of emotions for your locker room over the last week, and now a chance for you guys to rewrite your season and rewrite a lot of these guys' legacy, like CJ Stroud. How important it is for you guys to get that chance and not only stay focused just in the task in hand and not necessarily look forward to a potential rematch against Michigan?
Well, first off, you're playing the defending national championships, in their backyard, national champions in their backyard. So, it's going to take everything we have to go on the road to go win this game. And, I just think that we wanted to be in this situation, the CFP at the end of the year. It took a different road to get here, but we're here. And so now, we've got to just do an unbelievable job this month of preparing and maximizing every day. And that's in the end, what's going to happen. It's going to be a great matchup. I got so much respect for, what they do in all three phases. And so, coaches, players, staff members, we just got to do everything we can to, again, maximize this month and get ready to play a really hard fought game on the 31st. So that's where our focus is going. How we got here at this point, I guess, doesn't really matter. Now that we're here, it's time to go play.
All right, we'll go next to Chip Towers from the AJC. Go ahead, Chip.
Now can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, gotta be the guy that forgets to hit the mute. For Coach Day, just wondering, how much as you sit here today, do you truly know about Georgia? Has there been any kind of cram yet, or is there plenty of time for that? And can you, for those of us that haven't followed you, super close, that you maybe didn't have everybody at your disposal in the Michigan game that you will have in this game. So can you talk about those two elements?
Yeah, we, like Kirby said, we always look at Georgia and look at how they do things in the off season, sometimes during the season. So to say that, we're knee deep in a game plan, I can't tell you that. We watch them from afar, and they have very, very good players and a good scheme. Certainly, on offense, Stetson does a great job in all areas. Got a lot of respect for the way he plays, and certainly they put a lot of stress on you with multiple tight ends and really good offensive line and skill players on the outside. And then on defense, excellent scheme and really good players across the board. So, we're not that far into it, but at the same time, the focus has got to be here in the next couple of weeks of working on fundamentals, but start getting going with the game plan and put all that stuff together. Cause they challenge you in all three phases. During this time, it's going to be great to get guys healthy. We really, have been fighting that a little bit, but we've also developed some depth in certain areas too, which is important. So, I think if we can push forward and get to just about 100% here in terms of our health, that gives us the best chance on the 31st.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. All right, we'll go next to Andy Evans. Go ahead with your question, Andy.
Yeah, hey, if I may, I'd like to ask each coach a question. Ryan, first off, starting with you, you just mentioned this is basically a home game for Georgia. Last year, unfortunately, Buckeye Nation didn't seem overly eager to want to make the trip out to Pasadena. So how important is it for Buckeye Nation to be willing to make the trip down to Atlanta? And then for you, Kirby, you just played there last night and you're going to be returning less than a month later, and you played there a handful of times before. So does this feel kind of like a home game for you guys? And is there a certain comfort level in returning to a place that's a little more than an hour away?
Coach, let's start with you.
Yeah, I would just say excited to play and what a great venue. It's going to be an electric atmosphere, and looking forward to playing in it. Certainly, I know that it's kind of in Georgia's backyard, but what an unbelievable opportunity for us to go down there and play in an electric atmosphere. So, when you get to this point of the season, this is what you're going to do. You're going to be in these type of environments. And, if you said at the beginning of the year, you got a chance to be in the CFP and play in Atlanta against Georgia down there, defending national champs, of course, you cut off your right arm for this opportunity. So we'll do everything we can to prepare to play our best football.
Yeah, I certainly think it's great to be, in Atlanta. I think it fell that way because in the rotation that it was, Atlanta's year. We certainly have gone and played in the Rose Bowl out in California, and we've also been to Miami to play in semifinals. And I know Ohio State's been all over as well. So, once you get to the venue, and it's different than you coming in for a game when your kids have been in classes and they just fly in for the game. It's different when you're there for a whole week. We'll practice at the Mercedes-Benz. They'll practice at Mercedes-Benz. It's not like you're going to walk in there and have not seen the place. And the field is the exact same length as any other field we'd play them on. The ticket sales, Ohio State, as I understand it, has never had a shortage of alumni base or money, because I go against Ryan all the time in recruiting. So I know how strong their alumni base is and how proud they are of it. So I don't look for it as home as in the state of Georgia, but the fan bases will both turn out, and they both have great fan bases. And I think that's great for the Peach Bowl and great for the state of Georgia and Gary's staff to have two programs of this magnitude playing in this game.
All right, we'll go next to Jordan Hill. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, question for Kirby. We got to see AD yesterday more than we have since the opener. Just what stood out to you about how he played, and specifically how he was able to hold up physically?
He's got to work on his conditioning level. He hasn't played consecutive snaps as much as we'd like, and he's really got to work hard on that. It was good to get him back in there and get him in the rhythm. I don't think he was 100% last night, but it's important to get his confidence back and get him back rolling. And he's worked so hard to get back and tried so hard to have a role. I thought he really did a good job emotionally last night, not being up and down, because he's a kid that wants to do. He's so energetic. He wants to do well, and sometimes he presses. And last night he settled into the flow of the game nice, and it was nice to get him out there some.
All right, we'll take our next question from Allison Mastrangelo. Go ahead, Allison.
Hey, this is for Kirby and for Coach Day. I mean, I know that this next 3-4 weeks is good to help get guys healthy again, but what kind of challenges can it present as well when it comes to kind of finding the balance between practice and days off and making sure your guys don't cool off too much going into this playoff game?
Coach Day, start with you, please.
Well, I think going through this before, certainly I think Kirby would agree, first couple of times you do it, you learn and you grow, and you try to find that right balance that you're talking about of, working on fundamentals, keeping your edge, but then also game planning and making sure that the guys are fresh and ready to roll for the game. And, the more you do it, I think the more prepared you are. You learn every week or every year. You evaluate in the off season. How'd you do? What was the preparation like? Every year is a little bit different because of the recruiting calendar, where you play, how does Christmas fall into these type of things? And the COVID year, I mean, every year has its own set of circumstances, and you do the best you can to find that balance. But having been in these situations before, you take your past experiences and you try to do the best you can to make sure your team's playing at a maximum strength on the 31st.
And Coach Smart.
Yeah, a lot of the same things Ryan just reiterated. The management of the schedule is critical. I think having been a part of it and done it multiple years at Alabama and now at Georgia, it is so critical to your success how you manage that time, not just us as coaches, but how these players manage time. I also think the mindset and the framework you approach it with, there's certainly a mindset to it. And I told our team today that, last year's team in that same meeting had a different frame of mind than maybe our team right now does. And that's so critical, how you manage the next month and how we as coaches manage it and how the players manage it. And, with Ohio State, there's a breath of fresh air of opportunity. We've never had the fortune of saying, all right, we were out and then we got back in. There's a couple of times we got really close to getting in, but the excitement that provides and the energy is like, it's a kick of momentum that we have to understand that, and we have to be able to match that and understand that there's a piece of that you got to know. But managing the 27 days is just critical, because sometimes your guys think 27 days is a long time, and then it's right up on you before you know it.
All right, we're going to try to squeeze in a couple more questions here. Next, we'll go to Connor Riley. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, this is for both coaches. Brian, you touched on this earlier, and Kirby, you obviously mentioned how you guys don't take any players to the transfer portal. Why is it important for your programs to continue to build through the high school ranks and recruit guys and try and develop them over the course of multiple years, as opposed to just getting portal guys for 1, maybe 2 seasons max?
All right, start with Coach Day again, please.
Sure. Well, I think it has to do with your culture. I think there's nothing more important than the culture of your team and all the work that gets done in the off season, in the weight room, spring practice, in the summers. And that's how you build your program, is through culture. And that's a shared behavior through the leaders. And, when you start to move those pieces around every year, it becomes harder and harder to maintain that. And so, through the recruiting process, you want to identify those that we think fit the culture best. Certainly you want to identify talent. That's important. But as the head coach, I think it's important to make sure you bring in the right people that fit what you do. And, when you're taking guys in from the portal, not that they can't be a fit, we added guys, we felt like they were good fits and it did work out. But there's a lot of dynamics at play there. And when you have a lot of pride in programs, I'm sure just like Kirby would say at Georgia, it's the same thing here at Ohio State. It's hard to just walk in and then demand playing time. And most people in the portal are coming into play right away. And so, I just think that that's why it's important to make sure that you're really careful about who you bring into your program.
All right, Coach Smart.
Yeah, a lot of the same sentiments. I mean, there's kids on that team last night that they earned it, and it was hard. Stetson talked about it. I mean, he's like, it's hard to play here. It's Chris Smith. It's hard to play here. Kenny McIntosh. I mean, the amount of time he waits hard, and we've had successful guys come from the portal, and we'll continue to utilize the portal. I don't think it would be foolish to think that you could be successful in college football and not evaluate and recruit and look through the portal. But you have to be smart what you bring into your program, especially if you want to keep dynamic of the culture we'd like to keep. And, I want to be sure you understand, Connor, I'm not saying that we don't recruit the portal. I'm saying that we just did not have anyone last year that we got. We certainly are always going to look and shape it and make sure kids fit our culture. That's why, to me, it's so critical now in recruiting to evaluate more players, because you may get the guy on rebound and you better know a better history than just what somebody calls and tells you about them. I want to know when they came on the visit. I want to know when we talked to them. I want to know when they came to our camp, because I'm a lot more likely to take a kid that I think is wired the right way, even if he's coming from the portal, but I better have known about him coming out of high school.
All right, we'll take our final question from Mike Griffith. Go ahead, Mike.
For Coach Day, talking about culture and program, you had a pretty important transfer from Georgia named Justin Fields. Can you talk about how he fit into your culture and how important it was for you to get Justin Fields from Georgia as you were building Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying. He obviously was unbelievable here and, had a major impact here. I have so much respect for the way that, Kirby handled that, because Justin had nothing but unbelievable things to say about his staff and Kirby on the way out. And those are not easy situations. They just aren't. We've all been through it. We went through the same thing with Joe Burrow and Jameson Williams. I mean, this is kind of the way things have gone here in college football, and the way that everybody handled it was with class. But Justin had just an amazing impact here. He's doing a really good job in the NFL now, and I'm glad to see him having success. But he certainly left a legacy here.
All right, thank you, Coach. All right, with that, coaches, we thank you very much for your time. Members of the media, we thank you for being on the call. Coaches, welcome to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl semifinal. We can't wait to get you into town and give you both a first-class experience, not only for you, but for your players and your fans as well. We're all looking forward to it. We can't wait for you to get here.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.